Traffic. There we go. Good morning, everyone. We're going to be sticking with gratitude today. I've approached gratitude the last couple times in a few unique ways. We're going to take another sort of unique approach to gratitude today. And the way I've approached it before was just feeling gratitude for this human life, for this earth, for the sky, for this air, right? These basics and the benefits of those essential benefits to us. And then the following time, we decided to investigate gratitude for even things that were difficult. Remember, things that we don't like, things that we don't want, things that we'd rather not have happen, but in fact were somewhat essential to us, maybe to our, from the Buddhist perspective, they would say to good karma. You needed to know this. This was something you needed to confront, to understand, to let go, to not be in clinging or grasping. And so some hard stuff, right? I gave you the example then last week of my father who said, I am so grateful for my cancer. I'm so grateful. It has realigned my sense of priority. And that love, of course, and kindness is the most important thing. I had not lived that or known that before that, right? And he was truly grateful to his illness because he said, without that, I likely would have never come to that clarity. It was through the difficulty, through the suffering, and through the recognition of what? Impermanence, that I went, okay, there's only this, there's only now, right? Be here fully. Does that make sense to what I'm saying? I don't want to imply that it's easy. So I hope I didn't I don't want to, it's not a simple task, right? He almost died in the process of the cancer due to several factors. And he's a great example, so I'll stick with him for a moment. It was that transformed some things for him. My father was shot 6 times in the Korean War. He was given a number of medals, Silver Stars and Purple Hearts and all these things. That had nothing to do with it for him. He felt actually egoic and entitled about it. Very different than almost dying from cancer, which shifted everything for him. In fact, it was somewhat the perfect antidote, wasn't it? Because he'd almost died before. And what he came out of that was a hero, right? He got celebrated, he got gifted, everybody was like, oh, you threw the 90-mile-an-hour, my father was a minor league baseball pitcher, threw 90-mile-an-hour grenades in all directions, saved an entire blah, 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 blah. And he came out of there going, I'm it. He was also 22 years old, right, for that. So you'd go, well, right, death itself, look at the necessity. Well, no, he just decided that it made him special. I agree, by the way, that it made him special, but it wasn't helpful towards his deep understanding of what this life was really about until cancer and almost dying from that. You get the difference, right? One can elevate us, make us more egoic, even in self-pity, by the way. We become more egoic, right? Why me? How horrible for me? So it's not that these things by themselves are transformative, right? It is the way in which you come to recognize something about the truth of your life and then the life of others. And that was definitely the case for him. I want to just check in before we begin, make sure that. Thank you, Leanne. I am recording. Leslie, thank you all. So this morning, we're going to look a little more deeply at there's a lot going on over there. And so that's going to be part of our practice. There was a tree being cut down. I don't know if anybody's noticed the sky. There was a tree as larger than this, right there in that skyscape. And it was cut down over the last 2 days. The new owners had discovered dramatically invasive root system, which was, I've cried twice about that. It was a big, healthy, amazing tree. It has not been easy. It has resisted death. It has not been easy for it to go down. And so they may be doing that. Let's just see how that works. It sounds like they're inside today. Can we be grateful for everything, even that? So I want to say just 2 things about gratitude as it is understood in the Buddhist tradition. Slightly unique, I think. In the Buddhist tradition, the way it is written is gratitude is the natural arising of something. It's a mind and heart state that comes from the recognition of kindness. Right? Doesn't that make like great? From the recognition of kindness. It is not gratitude for the necklace you love. That's understood to be appreciation. Can you feel the difference? It is not worthy of gratitude. The way it was written then is that if you were to have made a raft in a flood and the raft carried you across to the opposite shore, the Buddha says, "Oh, monks, would you be grateful to the raft?" Trick question. Would you be grateful to the raft? The monks say, "Yes, we would be grateful to the raft." He says, "No, Ananda, no. You blew it. F. You would not be grateful to the raft. You would be grateful to the one who taught you how to make it." Can you feel that distinction? Doesn't that gives me goosebumps. Would you be grateful for the raft? No. The necklace? No. No, you would be grateful to the one who, right? So the beautiful car? No. The factory makers who made it? Yes. Your beautiful yard? No. As beautiful as it is, but who? All that contributed, right? So we make sure that we understand. Without understanding the essence of kindness or the origin, it says, the origins of kindness, there cannot actually be gratitude, but there can be deep appreciation. So that's the distinction. It's somewhat distinct, isn't it? It's not common in all traditions, right? It says that gratitude, and then it goes on to say, from that gratitude, you should be willing to give whatever is required in support of that person, in support of their well-being, right? That kindness from gratitude now should be something you are willing to return. And he goes on to say, as if you would give your own life for your mother and father, no matter their qualities, because they are the ones who gave it to you, right? That's how serious he takes this concept, right? That it is, there is in fact, to some extent, debt in gratitude, that you are indebted. And then, of course, if you go on to read these suttas, it says, and then who have you met? This is one of my other favorite parts. Who is not, in fact, been your mother or your father in some other lifetime. So what is he saying? We owe everyone this gratitude that comes out of the kindness that has been exchanged, whether you can see it clearly in this moment or you cannot. Because at some moment they have, in fact, by virtue of their been an essential part. And he goes to say, as they were your own mother and father, right? That's quite a large inquiry, isn't it? Like, wow, we're going to do the practice now. Where are you? Where have you seen kindness? Where have you seen these extreme acts of kindness? What are you indebted to? How is your own kindness returned? It says, it is an exchange. It is not a preference. It is not, well, it's handy. It's with an indebted, I owe gratitude and that kindness to that person, and how we then live that. Makes sense? Are you understanding? Are there any questions about this before we begin? The practice itself may help. I'm going to focus on some of these parts.
So it's related to love, right?
Kindness.
Yeah, that's kindness.
You know, the word love is so contaminated for us now with attachments, cravings, lust, preferencing. I love you because you're my friend. I don't love you because you're. So yes, of course it is in the frame of what love as complete open-heartedness.
That's what I was going to say. Agape is the other.
Yes. To that extent, agape. To the extent that I recognize the kindness in you, the good in you, and your contribution, which, by the way, he says can be assumed, does not have to be an evidence, because they have been, and he uses that, in an other lifetime, your mother or your father. Right. So this puts, that's a big assignment.
So I guess I need a little clarification. In light of all the things that have been going on in the, let's say, the United States with guns and et cetera.
The harm, the damage
So
that can happen.
there's a large part of me that would be very resistant to offer kindness.
Yeah. Well, right. I think I'm going to leave that alone. Yes. There would be a large part of us that could rationalize hatred, that can rationalize ill will. I've done it a million times. That can rationalize the closed heart, the judgmental mind, the prejudice, the preference. Absolutely. Do I still have them? Yes, I do. Do I think people should kill other people with guns? Not unless, I'll take it a little step further, according to the Buddhist tradition, not unless it is an act of kindness. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So how is that, would you imagine, possible? How could shooting someone actually be an act of kindness?
We don't do it in this world, but suffering, we do it with pets.
Might be, right? As a way of preventing further harm or suffering, preventing further harm or suffering. So, you know, again, the Dalai Lama, every single time the poor guy gives an interview, what about the bomber in the arena? What would you do? You know, you're such a pacifist, which is not true. Would you just let him blow the place up? He says, no, with all the loving kindness in my heart. Meaning it, I would do whatever was required to cause the least harm. That seems kind of reasonable, right? Not out of ill will, not out of hatred, not out of aggression, because then the damage is not only on the other, it's worse, it's on you. Isn't it? That's what my father got. Oh, this has been damaging to me and others. It wasn't a one-sided story. All that aggression has cost me something. Right? The wisdom of that. and made some very, very dramatic, very spontaneous changes that were really quite striking.
The things that I read, I can't remember where, but that yeah, using force and perhaps lethal force to prevent
Harm.
a greater suffering or harm, that in doing so that the person doing it does it in a way knowing the karma that they're taking on.
That's right.
That they are in fact taking a life. But wasn't mentioned, but seems appropriate, is that using that lethal force and reducing the karma with me doing it of the perpetrator,
Yes.
the one who intended to do great harm.
Yes. Is actually understood to be good.
Yeah.
That's goodness. Not easy, not
Yeah.
one we typically have access to. I don't want to suggest that anybody get a gun and go out there looking how to cause least harm. I don't think we're necessarily set up for that in our own heart minds. And at the same time, wouldn't you do what you needed to do? Right? I once was witness to a dog getting hit. The dog was very severely damaged. We could not help the dog. We went to even pick it up and it went ballistic. And I knew that the right thing was that we're not going to be able to help this dog was to make sure it didn't suffer. I was not capable of that. I was 13 years old and I ran and got my father. Good karma. Maybe correcting some of that other stuff. Right? Maybe.
The other day on NPR, they were talking about our police force and
Yes.
that the research completely indicates that going after the person and incarcerating them is, I'm going to say, it is not the act of kindness.
Right.
The act of kindness would be for us to go into the neighborhoods,
Yep.
integrate into these.
That's right.
And that our justice system is just so.
And offer care.
Yeah, our justice system just needs that repair.
Yes. Yeah. We all know this. I just want you to think about it in your own life. Right? Where is those actions necessary to prevent further harm? Often for young parents saying, no, you can't have that. Put that down. You're not going to the college campus at 15 with your friends. You're not going to keep smoking marijuana in the house. You're right. These are tough, but they are actually filled with this genuine wish for well-being, happiness, and kindness of another. And gratitude is ultimately our response to those acts being offered to us. Gratitude is our response. And we'll do the practice now and see if you can't find some of those in your own experience, your own history. And so we're going to find a comfortable posture as we begin. Your feet can be anchored to the floor, and in the case of wonky chairs, just do the best you can. We have an upright spine. We have our hands gently placed on the leg or in the lap. And then the first instruction, know that you're breathing. And the instruction here is actually in the knowing. That's the invitation to awareness. Know that you're breathing. And then for just a moment, we can anchor ourselves into the body, into the present moment by feeling the feet in contact with the earth. And we invite the breath along with our attention down right there into the felt sense of the feet. We can move up from the feet into the area of the hips, into the seat. And on taking an in-breath, feeling the rise of the weight of the body from the hips. And on the out-breath, feel the way the body settles. Let it settle most deeply. Feel the uprightness of the spine, the balance of the head. And as we come into contact now with the front of the body, breathing into the body, seeing if we can't invite a softening, a release with each out breath as we move down the body. Down from the face, the neck, into the chest. And then from the chest down into the diaphragm, the belly. Remember, this is not a practice of excluding, so we are not going to be excluding sounds, but we are going to be placing primary, purposeful, intentioned, caring, loving attention right there in the area of the belly. 51%. May we offer this practice to the welfare and the benefit of all beings, everywhere without exception, those with guns and those without, those being born and those dying, all those who are here today, all those who are here in our hearts. May this practice also be for them. We're going to rest in the out breath in particular today because of the other sounds of machinery here. We're going to invite the parasympathetic nervous system a little bit. Where I want you to pay particular attention then is at the end of the out breath, in that open space. And you can move beyond the body at the end of the out breath, back out into the open infinite space around you, in which you can then recognize, for example, sound as one small particle of that infinite reality, one small dot. You will notice that awareness rests naturally in stillness, silence, and open space. And then I'd like you to recollect an act of kindness offered to you for which you feel that naturally arising gratitude. I'd like you to recollect that moment. Be watchful of going off into stories. I'd just like you to call an image of that experience to mind. This is called a recollection. And if it seems distracting, again, we have extra sound this morning. Could you be grateful for that which contributed, that kindness that contributed to your hearing? That might take you back to gratitude for this precious human life being offered to you by a mother and a father. Can you recognize that gift as being offered directly to you? Can you feel the effects of that kindness? Can you feel the intention of the one who has offered it to you? And as you cultivate that experience, I'd like you to see what you notice opens, changes, particular qualities of body. I'm actually recollecting that moment with that dog and my father's willingness to come to attend. I'm just breathing that experience in. And rather than construct a response, remember, we're understanding gratitude as a naturally arising response to kindness. Let's just drop into the body first to see what felt sense might be available there. What do you notice? I just felt a kind of burst of warmth right up there in the polyvagal bundle, up here in the chest, just spreading across the chest and upward. Maybe the hands become warmer. The felt sense of the softness of the hands becomes sharper. Maybe the sound of the crows becomes just a little less annoying. Just see whatever is true for you. This is not a practice of forcing gratitude. This is not helpful. And then I'd like you to expand that recognition, that mindfulness beyond the body, seeing if you can come to the thoughts, the images, what appears in the mind as we are opening to these essential kindnesses and the gratitude that is its result. It might invite other recognitions. Other moments begin to flash. Be watchful of the habit mind that may go into judgments about, I can't think of anything. A teacher, a friend, a coach, a parent, a family member, another, offering themselves in kindness to you. What thoughts come to mind? And very much like compassion, gratitude is an action. It is not only an experience or a feeling or a mind state, it is actionable. What actions might have been the result of that kindness? One of the interesting aspects of this concept of gratitude is that it does not necessarily have to be returned to the one who enacted the kindness. Isn't that lovely? You can move that forward. That's also gratitude. Out of knowing that kindness and out of the gratitude that is its result, you then expand your heart right from that gratitude to another. So you don't have to wonder, did I write that note? Did I say the right thing? Did I say it well enough? That's not actually the point in this practice. What was the result identifying that kindness, reciting it, and then breathing several breaths, feeling the effects. That's gratitude. Just as kindness is intention, so is gratitude. Remember, actionable, expressible towards the one who enacted the kindness, but also towards others. Feel the effects of that gratitude and its energy. We understand the energy, the intention, the focus required for kindness. We feel gratitude for that offering. And then for the remainder of this practice today, I'd just like you to rest in that warmth. Rest in that sense of spaciousness. Rest in that energy, that awakened heart. May we be filled with loving kindness and gratitude. And may we be well. May we all be peaceful and have ease. And may we be happy. I'll take a moment and just look at chat. There was a lot of background noise. Did anybody notice? I went on to mute because somebody made a phone call to my phone. So we have a lot of conversations about that.
We figured it out.
Thank you so much, Leanne. I heard you come down. I just thought you were going to bonk me on the head. Okay, we're all settled that way. So what about this perspective, understanding on gratitude. How is it impacting you? What is that? We'll talk about what's the body of gratitude, what's the mind of gratitude, what's the heart of gratitude, but just what about this notion of gratitude being directly related? What's the word? A demanding response is one of the ways it's written to kindness. A compelling, I think, could be a word I would use. So we don't mistake the demanding as being from the other. Like, I am kind to you and now I am demanding, right? Gratitude or thanks. Compelling a response. Is it true?
That it's been helping me with conflicts that I'm in with someone. And I need that. I journaled a lot from a few weeks ago, so I've been journaling about. I don't want to say the word forgiveness, but understanding
Mhm.
why and where it's coming from, and then meeting it with when I can. I slip up. When I meet it with loving kindness, there's not the conflict. When I push just a little, bam, I run right into it. And this was just staying centered, not letting those compelling issues drive me into my lesser self.
Your own closed heartedness, right? We can always provide a rationale for that. Can't we? So easy to do. I have made the mistake, I have to say, as I was reflecting on this, I have noticed that there have been times where I have had an appearance of kindness. I just can't, that came to mind for me as I was thinking about all those kindnesses really extended to me, my grandmother, my father, my mother, my brothers, moments they came out to visit when I was just looking for a place to live here. And they took time off work. I can't even get over that. I'm from the Midwest. Nobody takes time off work for anything. I mean, anything. And they both took a week off and came out here to help me find my first apartment before we moved out here. I did not adequately respond to that. I did not sufficiently respond. And rather than go into judgments or I was like, wow, that was one big deal. My brothers haven't taken a week off ever since. And that's, I'm not joking. Right, look at that extension of them to me and me going, oh, it's great. We'll go to SeaWorld. We'll la, 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 la. It doesn't mean it wasn't fun, but my real deep understanding of what was being offered to me was not clear. And consequently, neither was my response. Right? Neither was my response. Now, it doesn't mean when it says indebted, remember, it doesn't mean now I've got to do that back in equal kind for you. It means with mindfulness, beginning with recognition of that effort, of that intention, of that offering, the compelling response will be there. What you do with it is then yours. Well, I wasn't particularly mindful of that. I was like, oh, yay, we'll have fun. You're coming out here for fun. Now that I say it, it's insane. They don't do anything for fun. They're from the Midwest. Everything they do is related to work. No, that's not what they do. Let's go have fun. It's here. No. But that intention of it, right? I just reflected on it. And the compelling response is gratitude. But I want us to be careful about now going into form, like I should have blah, 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 blah back. Or right. That means I didn't write a nice note enough. I should have sent flat. This is not what this is about. I want us to be so careful. We tend to grab form, I think, when we're supposed to first be compelled by the experience, and then trust what comes. So guess what I'm going to probably do today? I'm going to be calling my brother. That's not the only way to do it though, is it? Not at all. Let's not mistake it. But I absolutely am going, I just had an understanding. I've missed something here, and I want you to know, because I do, how meaningful that was to me. And I then trust everything else that will come from it. That will also now be what? From one moment to the next, we say, right? So one moment of mindfulness, one moment of clarity, one moment of gratitude and its understanding leads to what? The next. One moment of forgetting also does what? Leads to the next. And so what does the sutta say? Be mindful, pay attention every moment, right? Feed those possibilities with our mindfulness. And so what came up during the practice? What did you sense?
I actually love the friends. Being very thankful for them so they can distract me from this. I just had to crack up because just as I was doing that, you're like, you said something about the noise and the crows.
Yeah.
I was like, and here I am, just so grateful that the crows are in
Yes.
the air. It was fun.
The
It was a fun moment.
the crows actually, one of the qualities of our mindfulness also is to see not only the present moment, but what we call its antecedents and that which comes after. That tree getting cut down has displaced those crows.
Yeah.
They had a home and that home's gone. And so as I was hearing them, it's going, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
I feel sort of a sense of lost space.
Yes.
Yeah. Felt like they were yelling at you.
Yes. I think they might be yelling at them actually. And then, right, with that felt sense, once again, I don't know that gratitude was what I felt. I actually felt compassion in that moment. That's the one we're going to use as the other side, not true, but right. So where there is suffering, the naturally arising felt sense of compassion on this side. And then just to distinguish kindness and its naturally arising gratitude. Can you see the similarities? That quality that just comes and its impact on us. How did you feel it in the body? What did you notice? I actually felt the polyvagal flush, we call that, and a kind of warmth and expanding. Julia.
It felt like almost like a release. Like it felt like there's this friend in our group. There's a whole group, there's a group of friends, but this one friend was unkind to another friend, and I saw that happen. It was really horrible. But that friend that was unkind actually is a friend that did something very, very kind towards me. And so I was like feeling this pull, like I'm so grateful for her, for what she did for me. And I'm struggling with what I saw her do to this other friend. And I started feeling like compassion for her because I felt like she was struggling.
Yes.
She was in a struggle with how to handle this other friend. It was just such a mess. But when I started thinking about who am I grateful for, she came to mind perfectly because she did something for me that changed my life.
Yes.
And that
Right.
was a few years ago, and this is now present time. So I kind of like shut her down because of what I saw she did to this friend. But it just like was this huge release for me, like, oh my gosh, I can be grateful to her.
Yes. Yes.
It just makes me cry.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Helps when we remember that these are moment by moment and not to solidify. Right. Julie was just saying that there was a friend who had been very kind, for whom she felt a lot of gratitude, and also who has made a mistake, who has been unskillful or has now been unkind. Is there anyone in the room who hasn't done both? Right. And we don't want to be certainly tagged with our unskillfulness, do we? Nobody wants to have to take permanent claim as some permanent quality and that is one of the essential understandings, is that these moments of kindness, you just can't make the assumption that that's just that person all the time. It wouldn't be true, would it? And you want to acknowledge, reinforce, support, and encourage that continuation of those qualities in the fertile soil of our own good hearts, right? And how it progresses, as well as the other. We know pain leads to pain, don't we? We know that the lack of kindness leads to the lack of kindness, that harm leads to harm. Yes, we do. And so what do? We guard our own heart minds, right? We propagate and feed the good to the benefit, and we go, whoops, be careful. It'd be very easy to mistake that as that whole person, or that person all the time, or right. And the truth is, once we do that, there is very rarely possibility, isn't there, for continuation of relationship or growth, or it just collapse. You said a mess, didn't you? You said just now it's a mess. And that's right. And there may be no potential for healing now. If we go, you're just bad, and it does not mean that a bad thing did not occur. We can't do that, right? We can't go, well, forget about it. No, we look at what are the causes and conditions that contributed to that? How do we help with all of those conditions that lead to violence, for example, that lead to harm, right? And then we go, how do I contribute to its end? And we know that the essential mindfulness, understanding that, is number one. Because then the kindness that comes from it, we trust, right? We don't just go, never mind. Of course, I have, and you have too. Just, don't worry about it, especially when I see that it's not based on the person's intention, right? It's based on timing, or it's based on distress, or it's based, and if I can see that, right, you will too, won't you? You'll go, wait a minute, this isn't a big deal. I see that you didn't intend this outcome, that this was just the result of, right, those too many things, that bad traffic, right? Those are easy. When we see unskillfulness, however, it's very easy to personalize it, isn't it? You not only did it, you did it on purpose. And not only did you do it on purpose, what's our third element? And you did it to me. And the minute we establish that, what's its result? Yeah, I get to kind of hurt you back, don't I? I get to shut down, disconnect. And we do it. Don't we all do it? We've done it. We've done it. Right. So this is just a part of the recognizing in our mindfulness practice. What are the antecedents to gratitude? Well, they are acts of kindness. They are intentioned, as then is gratitude. Its natural result, and will also be intentioned, and it propagates kindness, doesn't it? That's one of the effects of gratitude, is you have an energy to go, like, repeat that for that good feeling, right? It probably wasn't till someone I have to say honestly, this is our direct experience and how it teaches us. I would say it wasn't till someone just brought over a meal once. They were saying, what can we do? This is a difficult time. And we were like, nothing. We couldn't think of anything, honestly. And they just dropped off a meal. Just dropped it off. Didn't ask what we liked. Didn't ask if we ate olives. Didn't care. Fabulous. Right? It was amazing. They just dropped it off. It probably wasn't till that moment that I really understood that concept of intention, right? It didn't have to be the perfect meal. It didn't have to be only the things you liked. It didn't have to be at the right exact time. They just dropped it off and it was amazing. Right? And it took all that for me to go, boy, wow. Right? I'm a little demanding on kindness. I'm like, I want to make sure if you don't like olives, the olives aren't in there. And I want to make sure if you don't eat chicken that we put in tofu. And I want to make sure if you don't like whole wheat pasta, we find another pasta. Guess how less often now that happens because of all the conditions imposed. It's got to be like this. It's got to be right like that. It can't be this. It can't be that. Because the intention is the point. Isn't it? Yeah. That
I just really love that. That's awesome.
it's awesome. And we get in our way, don't we? You can see now.
Yeah, because
Well,
in the end,
I-
you don't end up doing anything because you're over managing it when intention you just I like it.
Condition got to be like that again, and then I got to do that. And how many times have we done that with gratitude? Okay, I should write the card. I should do the thing. I should. So now what'd you do? Nothing. Because now you're going, oh my God, it's 2 weeks past the card writing. All right, never mind that. Well, I could call them. Well, that's going to be weird. Now they're going to go, really seriously, 2 weeks later, you thought, no, they're not. They're going to go, wow, thank you for seeing the goodness in me. But we do it there too, I think. Very often, it's got to look like this or forget about it. Right? And I want us to be a little careful about that because over managing, there's a word. Over conditionalizing, there's another word. So that the natural expression doesn't even happen now because there's no more natural in it. We've taken it all away by going, it's got it, and then it's got to be in that time frame, and it's got to be with the bow. And if I don't have a vase, why drop it off? No, right? We do it over and over and over. And then we use that as the reason. Is it? No, it's not the reason. The reason we didn't do it is we have conditionalized. We have already decided that we are not sufficient in some essential way. And that whatever that act of kindness would be, whatever that act of gratitude would be, is in some way not. It's not enough.
Family experience that comes up several times. My graduation, or I guess it was when we graduated from school, we got a somewhat sizable check from a distant aunt who we see maybe once every other year or whatever, but keeping contact with her. And he called her and thanked her, and they spent like an hour speaking. And then she cut him out of his will, of her will, completely, both my children, and us, which was insignificant. That part was insignificant. The gesture was just her idea of a thank you was a properly written thank you
Yes,
in the mail.
yes,
My children don't even know how to mail a letter.
right.
And as much as we tried to explain it to her, she had closed her mind off to all of us
Yes,
completely.
yes,
And then she passed away.
yes.
So I don't know what the lesson, I mean, I don't know what he took from all of it, but we certainly tried our best to say, this isn't on you.
Right. Right.
You have to understand.
According to the teachings, that's not the exchange. That is not the point. It is not I'm giving, so now I'm supposed to get.
Right.
It is I am giving and I trust and have faith that that giving will lead naturally to other giving and other kindness and it doesn't it? Well, we already said it, didn't we? We said kindness leads to kindness. And that gratitude will lead to something. And I think we do this. In fact, we conditionalize once again, not only what we demand of ourselves, but what we demand then is the second point, isn't it? Of others. It's got to be like this, love like this, gratitude like this, forgiveness like this. I have a group I'm working with now, a SIBship that had a painful loss of a parent during COVID. And there's a member of the family going, apology like this. No apology, no family. Guess where we're going to go with that? Nowhere, are we? You've got to not only apologize, you've got to apologize like this. Uh-oh. Conditionalizing. Not allowing now for the natural result, right? Of compassion or kindness. And we don't trust it. That's why, right? That's why the demand happens. It's got to be like this because I don't believe anybody's going to do anything if I don't. And so we get a little entitled and a little like, right? It's got to be in blue ink, not black. It's got to be with at least a 4 by, not 2 by. Yeah. And the more we conditionalize, what does it tell you? The more fearful, right? The more pained we are.
She got COVID a couple months ago. She was vaccinated, and she beat the virus. And she tested negative, but she never really regained her appetite or her strength or her memory, and just went downhill. And she died last month. But I was so grateful to have the time and the opportunity to spend with her at the end. And I think we both softened towards each other. And I was with her when she died. And I felt like it was a gift. It was a gift to me, and I offered a gift to her, and somehow it was really kind of beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then all the envelope issues go away, don't they? That's what you're saying, which is, so we don't get it right. We don't do it perfectly. Nobody did the exact right thing according to whoever that is. And in the long run, it wasn't the point at all. Not really, right? That presence is really the point. That showing up is really the point. And that's why the Buddha himself says, be watchful of this tit for tat. Be watchful of the way we construct the matrix for our own closed heart, which is you didn't do X, I don't have to do Y, and how it propagates ill will, disconnect, right? Numbing.
We were resentful towards each other.
Yep. And it fed.
Let me down.
Yep. Well, you didn't do it my way. Yeah, that's exactly right. My mother has not talked to her granddaughter, her only granddaughter in 20 years. You want to know why? She didn't send the thank you. 20 years. Now that's a long time. And that carries its own seeds, doesn't it? That will have nothing to do with that granddaughter in the long run. The cost is all right here, right here. So it's beautiful when we can find those moments to put that all down, as Julie said, right? Relief. Don't want to carry that contraction, that hardness, that numbness, that shutdown. And it takes, I believe, a ton of courage. It takes courage to open.
And there were so many people. So,
Yes.
little hospice,
Yep.
very, very kind people.
I'm still stunned by that, Brenda, myself, in the midst of all the stressors for all the time that healthcare professionals, as an example, have been just in the war of this, how kind I have experienced them also. I'm blown away by that. Like, let me take you to the pharmacy. What? That's like amazing, right? In the face of all that suffering. And isn't it the only antidote, really? Because I don't know about the virus. I don't know when it ends. I don't know when it's over. I don't know anything. I know that. And I know that it matters. And so do you. Well, that gratitude is going to feed that. And that's what I want us to stay in touch with this week, especially in this time of thanks and giving. Right there it is. Thanks and giving. They go together. They go together. They are wedded really completely. And so out of our gratitude, what will naturally happen is another giving, another gift. And I don't think we need to worry about measuring it at all. Forget it. Don't get this, don't get the sticker out. Don't let it, just do it. Do it this week, right? Find those little moments and see if we don't notice how that little moment matters. Really, whether you get the note or not, see how it matters to you. Really, what's the impact to you? Both of the kindness and the naturally arising gratitude. It'll just lead to more goodness. And that's a promise, actually. Brenda, I'm very sorry to hear about your mother and very happy, by the way, for all of the good connection you could have with her in that time. I hope that will lead to other goodness. And I have confidence, by the way, that it will. We have just a few minutes left. Can we sit together? Just a moment. And so gathering that feeling of warmth, that feeling of release was one of the words, the feeling of spaciousness, the feeling of joy. Those remembrances of kindnesses offered and kindnesses received. And that flush, that actual opening, that's what's happening in that flush. And the energy that is its result, we can count on it. We breathe into open space, we breathe out into open space. This is exactly the size of the awakened heart mind. Infinite, vast, open. May we remember acts of kindness this week. May we extend them. May we feel the gratitude of that abundance. May we all be happy. May we all be safe. May we all be free from greed, hatred, and delusion. May we remember our own good hearts and extend them boundlessly. May it be so this day and every day. May it be of benefit. So be it. I want to say thank you to all of you. And Brenda, it's so good to see you. So wonderful to see you live. And sorry once again for the pain of that loss. I know it too. And I want to welcome Steve. Steve was in one of the mindfulness classes, probably in like 2019,
It was right before COVID.
right before COVID.
Yeah, we were going through it, and I lost a sister Monday, March 15th, I think it was.
Wow.
So it was right COVID. So
Right. That's right.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yes. Thank you. So we're going to, Greg, were you planning to lead on Thursday, which is Thanksgiving, or do you want to pass on that?
I do need to pass on it.
Okay. All right. We're going to pass on this Thursday's meditation at 7. We are going to have Pete offering meditation on Zoom next Saturday at 7:30. The many members of the Sangha will be at the holiday basket distribution. Nope. Let me take that back. Wrong Saturday. That's the Saturday after the 4th. Next Saturday, we will be doing Zoom only. I have many members of our family are coming in, and we're having our memorial for my husband's father that Saturday, who died in September. And so I will still be doing Zoom from here, but we will not be meeting here. So we will not be meeting here for 2 Saturdays. And the Saturday after the 4th is when Pete will be holding court because we'll be elves at the holiday basket, which I'm very excited about. So Tuesdays will continue as we are. So please join us 7 a.m. on Tuesday at the same Zoom link if that can work for you. I know lots of people are traveling, lots of people are doing other things. So just see what you can do to support yourself in your mindfulness, in your kindness, in your compassion this week and onward, especially as things tend to get a little more stressful. We're all trying to get back out there and do more. And it also is bringing a significant amount of stress because we can't do it quite the same old way. And yet we all want to do it. And it's be gentle, I would say, with yourselves in this, in these next several weeks. We will be going over the book, A Whole Life Path by Gregory Kramer. That will be starting the second Tuesday in January. It's a stunning book on how to live each day in these teachings, not to just think about them. And it's a lovely book. I'm rereading it now. And
What's the name of the book, Diana?
A Whole Life Path. Whole Life Path, available through Amazon and several others. I'd love people to start taking a look at it because you can do so a little bit in little segments. It's a meaty book, but it's also very practical. It's a very practical book. So I thought it was a beautiful combination of both the teachings. We did the Bodhisattva way of life, a gigantic book. We're like, what does that mean? Through half of the book. And this one's going to bring a little of that, but also very practical. How do you live that every day? And I like the combination. So I'm looking forward to doing that with you guys starting in January. And then blessings, blessings, and blessings to all of you. Most important. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. It looks like we're good there on Zoom. Let me see if I've got anything think about an EMC end of year gift. If you haven't, thank you, Leanne, for that reminder. Thank you, everyone. All right there, Steve. So